The day I bought my brand new iPhone 17 Pro Max was supposed to be one of the happiest days of my life. I had worked overtime for nearly a year to save enough money for it. Every extra shift, every weekend I gave up, and every dollar I carefully put aside had finally paid off. When I walked out of the store holding that sealed box, I felt proud of myself. Nobody had helped me buy it. I earned it on my own. That evening, I brought it home. The moment I opened the box in the living room, my mother and sister looked over. "Wow, that's the new iPhone?" Mom asked. I smiled and nodded. My sister Emily immediately walked closer. At first, I thought she was curious, but then I noticed the look on her face. It wasn't excitement. It was jealousy. She stared at the phone and crossed her arms. "Must be nice to waste that much money," she said. I ignored the comment. I carefully removed the protective film from the screen and turned the phone on. The display lit up beautifully. For a moment, I felt like all my hard work had been worth it. Then Emily laughed. "You think you're better than everyone because you have an expensive phone?" I looked at her. "What are you talking about?" "I'm just saying," she replied, rolling her eyes. "Some people like showing off." I wasn't showing off. I had literally just brought my new phone home. Mom didn't say a word. That bothered me. Emily had always been the favorite child. Whenever she caused problems, Mom found a way to excuse her behavior. I had learned to live with it over the years, but that night felt different. Emily kept making little comments every few minutes. "Bet he wants everyone to worship him now? Maybe he'll frame the phone and hang it on the wall. Careful, everyone, the king has arrived." Mom actually laughed at some of the jokes. I tried my best to stay calm. Then everything happened in less than 3 seconds. Emily suddenly stepped forward. Before I could react, she snatched the phone out of my hand. "Emily!" I shouted. She looked directly into my eyes. Then she smiled and slammed the phone onto the hardwood floor. Crack! The sound echoed through the room. The phone bounced once, then twice. The screen shattered instantly. The back glass exploded into pieces. The brand new phone that I had owned for less than 2 hours was destroyed. For a moment, I couldn't move. I just stared at it. My heart felt like it had stopped. "What did you do?" I whispered. Emily burst out laughing. Actually laughing. "Oops!" I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "Are you serious right now?" She shrugged. "It's just a phone." I looked at Mom, expecting her to finally step in. Instead, she sighed as if I was the problem. "Oh, stop making such a big deal out of it." I stared at her. She just destroyed my phone. "So what?" Mom replied. "People make mistakes." "Mistakes?" I said. "She threw it on purpose." Emily laughed even harder. "Maybe next time you'll be more careful." That was the moment something inside me snapped, not because of the phone, not even because of the money. It was because I suddenly realized neither of them cared. Emily could destroy something I worked hard for, Mom would defend her, and somehow I would still be the bad guy. I walked toward Emily. "Apologize." She smirked. "No." "Apologize." "No." Then she leaned closer and whispered, "Maybe now you'll learn your place." Before I could stop myself, my hand moved. Slap! The room went silent. Emily grabbed her cheek. Her eyes widened. Then she started screaming. "Mom!" Within seconds, she was crying dramatically. You would have thought I had committed a crime. Mom rushed to her side immediately. "Oh my God, Emily!" Then she turned toward me. The look in her eyes was pure anger. "How dare you touch your sister?" I pointed at the broken phone lying on the floor. "She destroyed my property." "I don't care!" Mom shouted. The words hit me harder than anything else that night. I don't care. Not about the phone, not about fairness, not about me. Just Emily. Mom pointed toward the front door. "Get out." I blinked. "What?" "Get out of my house." "You're kicking me out?" "Right now." I looked at Emily. She was still crying, but I could see the smile she was trying to hide. She was enjoying this. After everything she had done, she was winning. Again. For several seconds, nobody spoke. Then I quietly walked upstairs. I packed a backpack, a few clothes, my laptop, some personal documents, and that was it. As I walked down the stairs, neither of them tried to stop me. Mom didn't apologize. Emily didn't apologize. Nobody cared. But before I reached the front door, I stopped. A thought crossed my mind. A very important thought. Neither of them knew where Emily's college money really came from. They believed she had a scholarship. They believed the tuition payments magically appeared every semester. They believed the dorm fees somehow paid themselves. They believed the monthly spending money came from financial aid. The truth? Every single dollar came from me, for over 2 years, and if they wanted me gone, then my money could leave too. I opened the door, stepped outside, and made a decision that would change all of our lives. I spent that first night in a cheap motel on the other side of town. The room was small, the bed was uncomfortable, and the air conditioner sounded like it was about to fall apart. But for some reason, I slept better than I had in years. Maybe it was because there was no arguing, no favoritism, no Emily, no mom treating me like I didn't matter. The next morning, I woke up and stared at my phone's replacement, an old backup device I had kept in a drawer for emergencies. Then I opened my banking app. I looked at the scheduled payments. There they were. Emily's college tuition, Emily's dorm fees, Emily's monthly allowance, thousands of dollars, money I had been paying for more than 2 years. Nobody knew. Not even Emily. 3 years earlier, Emily had been accepted into a good university. The problem was that Mom couldn't afford it. The scholarship Emily thought she had received only covered a tiny portion of the expenses. The rest was impossible for our family to pay. I still remembered Mom crying at the kitchen table. "I don't know what we're going to do," she had said. At the time, I felt sorry for them. So I secretly stepped in. I worked overtime, took freelance projects, skipped vacations, delayed buying things for myself. Every semester, I quietly paid the bills. When tuition notices arrived, I handled them. When dorm payments were due, I handled them. When Emily needed spending money, I transferred it anonymously through an arrangement with the financial office. I never asked for credit. I never expected praise. I only wanted my sister to have opportunities I never had. And this was how she repaid me. By smashing my phone and laughing, I stared at the payment screen. Then I clicked one button, cancel, another button, cancel, another, cancel. One by one, every future payment disappeared. I felt strangely calm. There was no anger anymore, just clarity. I was finally done carrying people who didn't appreciate me. After that, I found a small apartment and signed a lease. The place wasn't fancy, the kitchen was tiny, the walls needed paint, but it was mine. For the first time in years, I felt free. 2 weeks passed, then 3. Not a single call from Mom, not a single message from Emily. That told me everything I needed to know. They didn't miss me. They thought I would eventually crawl back and apologize. But then reality arrived. One Friday afternoon, my phone buzzed. The caller ID showed Mom. I ignored it. A minute later, she called again, and again, and again. By the 10th call, I knew something had happened. A text message finally appeared. "Call me immediately. This is an emergency." I laughed. For years, every emergency in that family somehow became my responsibility. Not anymore. A few minutes later, another message arrived. This one was from Emily. Why wasn't my tuition paid? I stared at the screen. Then another message appeared. The university says there's a balance due. Fix it. Fix it. Not please. Not sorry. Not, can we talk? Fix it. As if I worked for her. I put my phone down and went back to work. That evening, the messages became more desperate. Apparently, the university had frozen her student account. She couldn't register for next semester's classes. She couldn't access certain services, and her dorm payment was overdue too. For the first time in her life, Emily was facing consequences. The next morning, Mom showed up at my apartment. I looked through the peephole and saw her standing outside. She looked angry, not worried, not sad, angry. I opened the door halfway. "What do you want? Why did you stop paying?" There wasn't even a hello. I almost laughed. "What are you talking about? Don't play games with me." Then she said something that shocked me. "The university told us you've been paying everything." So the truth was finally out. After years of keeping their secret burden off their shoulders, they finally knew. I crossed my arms. Yes, I was. Mom stared at me. For several seconds, she didn't speak. Then she said something unbelievable. How could you do this to your sister? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. How could I do this? She's your family. I pointed toward the parking lot. Your family threw me out of the house. That was different. No, it wasn't. Her face tightened. Emily needs that education. I laughed, a real laugh this time. Interesting. What? When my phone was destroyed, you said it was just a phone. Mom looked away. I continued. When I was kicked out, apparently that didn't matter either. You're being selfish. Those words ended the conversation. Selfish. The person who had sacrificed years of income for them was selfish. I slowly opened the door wider, not to invite her in, to show her out. I'm done paying. You can't do that. I already did. Emily's future will be ruined. I looked directly into her eyes. Then I said the one sentence I had been waiting weeks to say. That's not my problem anymore. Mom's face turned pale. For the first time, she realized I wasn't bluffing. I wasn't coming back. I wasn't paying another dollar. And for the first time in her life, Emily would have to face reality without me saving her. Mom stood there speechless. Then she turned and walked away. I thought that would be the end of it. I was wrong. Because 3 days later, I discovered something that made Emily's situation far worse than unpaid tuition. And when the truth came out, her entire college life began to collapse. 3 days after Mom showed up at my apartment, I thought the drama was finally over. I was wrong. That Wednesday afternoon, I was sitting at my desk when my phone buzzed. The message came from an unknown number. At first, I almost ignored it. Then I opened it. What I saw made my stomach drop. It was a screenshot of social media posts. Emily's social media posts. There were dozens of them, photos from expensive restaurants, luxury shopping trips, weekend vacations, designer handbags, concert tickets. And in almost every picture, Emily was bragging about how successful she was. The message underneath the screenshots read, "You should probably know where some of your money went." I immediately called the number. A young woman answered. "My name is Sarah," she said. "I go to college with your sister." "What is this?" Sarah hesitated. Then she said something shocking. "Emily tells everyone she's paying for school herself." I sat up straight. "What?" "She says she worked hard for everything she has." I couldn't believe it. For years, I had sacrificed my own life to help her, and she had been taking all the credit. But Sarah wasn't finished. "There's something else." "What?" "Emily owes a lot of people money." That got my attention. Apparently, Emily had borrowed money from classmates, money from friends, money from student groups. She had promised everyone she would pay them back, but she never did. Instead, she spent the money showing off online. The more Sarah talked, the angrier I became. Then came the biggest surprise. She recently damaged another student's laptop. What happened? An argument. And? She threw a drink at him. I blinked. What? The laptop was destroyed. According to Sarah, the student had filed a formal complaint with the university. The case was already under investigation. Suddenly, Mom's panic made sense. This wasn't just about tuition anymore. Emily was already standing on the edge of a cliff, and now the safety net was gone. That evening, another call came. This time it was Dad. The funny thing was that Dad rarely called me. He usually stayed out of family conflicts, but now he suddenly wanted to talk. I answered. "Hello?" His voice sounded unusually friendly. "Son." Whenever he called me son, it usually meant he wanted something. "What do you need?" A long silence followed. Then he cleared his throat. "We need to fix this." "We?" "Your mother is worried." I laughed. That made him uncomfortable. "What's funny?" "Nobody was worried when I got thrown out." Another silence. Then he changed the subject. "Emily made mistakes." Mistakes? She's young. She's 22. Dad sighed. Families forgive each other. There it was, the family card, the card they only played when they needed money. I had seen it my entire life. Whenever Emily hurt someone, she's family. Whenever Emily lied, she's family. Whenever Emily escaped consequences, she's family. I was tired of hearing it. Then Dad accidentally revealed something he wasn't supposed to. Your mother never meant what she said. What part? Kicking you out. I smiled, because I already knew he was lying. A cousin had called me the day before, and he had told me everything. After I left, Mom and Emily had spent weeks making fun of me, laughing about how sensitive I was, telling relatives I would come crawling back, calling me dramatic, calling me weak. Not once had they apologized, not once had they regretted it, until the money stopped. I decided not to tell Dad I knew. Instead, I listened. The more he talked, the more obvious it became. They didn't miss me, they missed my bank account. Finally, I ended the conversation. I'm not paying. Please think about it. I already have. Then I hung up. For the next few days, things became worse for Emily. Much worse. The university investigation finished. The student whose laptop had been destroyed submitted evidence, security footage, witness statements, photos, everything. Emily was found responsible. The university ordered her to pay thousands of dollars in damages, money she didn't have. Then another problem appeared. Several students publicly accused her of borrowing money and refusing to repay it. Her reputation collapsed almost overnight. Friends stopped talking to her. Classmates avoided her. Social media posts began disappearing. The glamorous image she had spent years creating was falling apart, and then came the final blow. One Friday evening, I received another message, this time from Emily herself. For the first time in weeks, there was no attitude, no arrogance, no demands, just 3 words. Can we talk? I stared at the screen. For years, she had treated me like I didn't matter. Now she wanted a conversation. But something told me this wasn't an apology. This was desperation, and what Emily was about to ask me would prove exactly how little she had changed. I stared at Emily's message for several minutes. Can we talk? After everything that had happened, part of me wanted to ignore her, but another part of me was curious. So I replied, "What do you want?" Her response came almost immediately. "Please, just meet me once." A few days later, I agreed to meet her at a small coffee shop downtown. When I arrived, she was already sitting at a table near the window. For the first time in years, she didn't look confident. She looked exhausted. Her expensive clothes were gone. The designer handbags were gone. Even her usual attitude seemed missing, at least at first. I sat across from her. Neither of us spoke for a few seconds. Then she finally looked up. "I've had a really hard month." I almost laughed, not because it was funny, because it was the first thing she chose to say. Not, "I'm sorry." Not, "I was wrong." Just complaints about her own problems. I stayed silent. Emily took a deep breath. "My dorm kicked me out." I nodded. "And?" "My friends stopped talking to me." "And?" "My classes are on hold." "And?" Her expression tightened. Clearly, she wasn't getting the sympathy she expected. Then she finally said it. "Look, I know things got out of control." Out of control, as if my phone had somehow smashed itself, as if Mom had accidentally thrown me out, as if none of this had been her fault. I leaned back in my chair. "Why am I here, Emily?" She hesitated. Then the truth came out. "I need help." Of course. There it was. The real reason for the meeting. Not guilt, not regret. Money, again. "I need tuition money." I shook my head. "No," she blinked. "You didn't even think about it." "I already thought about it weeks ago." "Please, no." "You're my brother," I laughed. The same family card. Again, the one they never used when I needed support. Emily's face became red. "You can afford it. And you've always helped me before." That sentence hit me harder than she realized, because it proved she still didn't understand. She thought my help was an obligation, something she deserved. Not a gift, not a sacrifice, an obligation. I stood up. The meeting was over. But before I could leave, Emily suddenly grabbed my arm. Tears filled her eyes. This time, they seemed real. For the first time since everything happened, she looked genuinely scared. "What am I supposed to do?" she whispered. I looked at her, really looked at her, and I realized something. For years, everyone had protected her from consequences. Mom, Dad, me. Whenever life became difficult, somebody rescued her. She had never been forced to stand on her own. Until now. I gently pulled my arm away. Then I said something she needed to hear. "Figure it out." She stared at me in disbelief, the same disbelief I had felt when Mom chose her over me. Then I walked out. I thought that would be the last time I saw her, but I was wrong, because 2 months later, something happened that nobody in my family expected. Not Mom, not Dad, not Emily, and definitely not me. One Saturday morning, I was scrolling through social media when I saw a familiar face. Emily. At first, I thought it was just another old photo. Then I noticed the headline attached to it. My eyes widened. I read it again, then a third time. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Emily had gone viral online, but not for the reason she wanted, and the story spreading across the internet was about to embarrass our family more than anything that had happened so far. I stared at my phone in disbelief. There was Emily's face, right on the front page of a local news website. The headline made my jaw drop. "College student accused of taking thousands from classmates speaks out." I clicked the article. My heart sank. The story explained how several students had accused Emily of borrowing money and refusing to pay it back. Some claimed they had trusted her because she always acted wealthy. Others said she promised to repay them after receiving family support. One student claimed he had lost nearly $2,000. Another claimed she still owed him over $1,500. The story spread quickly. People began sharing it, commenting on it, mocking her online. And because the article included her social media posts, everyone could see the expensive trips, designer bags, and luxury dinners she had been showing off for years. The internet wasn't kind. Within days, thousands of people had seen the story. Then things got even worse. A local reporter discovered that Emily had been claiming online that she paid for college herself. Former classmates immediately exposed the lie. Several people posted evidence showing she had received financial help from family members. Fortunately, nobody mentioned my name, but the damage was done. Emily's reputation was destroyed. Then came another twist. A week later, Mom called me. For the first time, her voice sounded different. Not angry, not demanding, broken. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity got the better of me. "Hello?" For several seconds, she didn't speak. Then she quietly said, "We might lose the house." That got my attention. What happened? The truth finally came out. For years, Mom and Dad had been living beyond their means. Credit card debt, personal loans, missed payments. They had secretly been struggling financially, and because I had been covering Emily's college expenses, they had managed to hide the problem. Now that support was gone, everything was catching up with them. The bank was threatening legal action. Several bills were overdue, and Emily certainly wasn't helping. I listened quietly. Part of me felt sorry for them, but another part remembered standing outside that house with a backpack while they slammed the door behind me. Mom started crying. I never thought things would get this bad. Neither did I, but actions have consequences. For a long time, neither of us spoke. Then she asked the question I knew was coming. "Can you help us?" I closed my eyes. A year earlier, I would have said yes without hesitation. A year earlier, I would have sacrificed my savings again. A year earlier, I would have rescued everyone. But I wasn't that person anymore. I had learned something important. Helping people who refuse to take responsibility doesn't solve problems. It only delays them. So I answered honestly. "No." Mom started crying harder. But this time I didn't feel guilty, because I wasn't abandoning them. They had abandoned me first. The difference was that I wasn't throwing anyone out of my house. I was simply refusing to save them from the consequences of their own choices. After we ended the call, I sat quietly for a while. Then I looked around my apartment. Over the past few months, my life had changed completely. I had received a promotion at work. I had moved into a better place. I had rebuilt my savings. Most importantly, I had found peace. For the first time in years, I wasn't carrying everyone else's problems on my shoulders. 3 months later, I walked into an electronics store and smiled, because sitting inside a glass display case was the newest model available. I bought it without hesitation. As the employee handed me the bag, I remembered the day Emily destroyed my first phone. Back then, I thought losing that phone was the worst thing that could happen. Now I realized it had actually been the beginning of my freedom. That evening, I posted a simple picture online. Nothing flashy, just a photo of my new phone sitting on my desk. A few minutes later, a notification appeared. Emily. Her first message in months. I heard you're doing well. I didn't reply. Another message appeared. Can we start over? Then another. I'm sorry for everything. I stared at the screen. For a moment, I considered answering. But then I remembered the laughter after she smashed my phone. The mocking, the lies, the manipulation, the years of taking me for granted. Some bridges aren't destroyed in a single moment. They're destroyed one choice at a time. I opened the conversation, typed 6 simple words. It's just a phone. Forget it. Then I blocked the number. And for the first time in a very long time, I smiled.